Hello students, we are going to start under corporate governance Sarbanes-Oxley Act. The Sarbanes-Oxley Act of 2002 was passed by the US Congress on July 30th, 2002 as a response to financial scandals in large and established companies such as Enron and WorldCom in the early 2000s. These scandals shook the entire corporate world and regulatory authorities as well and paved the way to the passage of Sarbanes-Oxley Act. Under this act, company executive auditors, attorneys, accountants and regulators are all held to more stringent standards of accountability. This act contains 11 titles. The need for this act arose after too many large scale corporate accounting scandals, such as Anderson and Enron. With these big names in the news for fraud, public confidence became rather shaky. The Senate refers to the Sarbanes Oxley Act as the Public Company Accounting Reform and Investor Protection Act, and the House refers to it as Sarbanes Oxley, Sarbox, or SOX. Regardless what you call it, the Act outlines how corporations must comply with the law. The Act is also intended to add stricter criminal penalties for certain acts of misconduct. Now, what are the reasons for Sarbanes-Oxley Act? Reaction to number of major corporate and accounting scandals, including those affecting Enron, Tyco, and WorldCom. To bolster accounting, internal control, and auditing standards at public corporations to protect investors. To enhance corporate internal auditing and financial reporting control mechanism to easily detect fraud. To restore the public confidence in both public accounting and publicly traded securities. Assure ethical business practices through heightened level of awareness and accountability. Includes reforms in the corporate governance and accounting profession intended to improve corporate financial reporting and internal control, strengthen audit committees, change the relationship between the auditor and the client, improve auditor independence, provide additional auditor assurance over internal control, provide oversight and regulation for auditors of publicly traded companies. This act contains 11 titles covering issues such as auditor independence, internal control, assessment, corporate governance, and enhanced financial disclosure. So, first title is Public Company Accounting Oversight Board. The Public Company Accounting Oversight Board was instituted in order to manage the audit of all public corporations. The board creates and sets forth the standards and rules for auditing reports as well as inspects, investigates, and enforces compliance with these rules. The board shall consist of 5 members and each member shall serve on full-time basis. The board shall establish such auditing and related attestation standards, quality control standards, and ethical standards to be used by registered public accounting firms for the preparation and issuance of audit reports. The board shall authorize its staff to convene such expert advisory groups comprising practicing accountants, representatives of the interested groups, and other experts to make recommendations regarding the conduct of auditing, quality control, ethics, independence, or other standards. The board shall include in the annual report the discussion of the work of the board with any designated professional groups of accountants and advisors. The board shall conduct inspections to assess the degree of compliance of each registered public accounting firm and associated person of that firm with this act. The board may conduct special inspection at the request of the commission or upon its own motion. The board shall establish fair procedure for the investigation and disciplining of registered public accounting firms and associated persons of such firms. The next is auditor independence. In aims of removing conflict of interest, there are 9 sections within Title 2 that outline standards for external auditor independence. The audit committee of the issuer shall approve all audit and non-audit services provided to the issuer by the auditor. It shall be unlawful for a registered public accounting firm to provide audit service to an issuer if the lead audit partner or the audit partner responsible for reviewing the audit has performed audit services in each of the 5 previous fiscal years of that issuer. Each registered public accounting firm shall timely report to the audit committee of the issuer regarding all critical accounting policies and practices to be used. It shall be unlawful for a registered public accounting firm to perform for an issuer any audit service if Chief Executive Officer, Controller, Chief Financial Officer, Chief Accounting Officer, or any person serving in an equivalent position for the issuer was employed by that registered independent accounting firm during the 1-year period preceding the date of the start of the audit. The next title, Title 3, is Corporate Responsibility. In order to further uphold accountability, regulations impose on all senior executives with the individual responsibility of the accuracy of financial reports, interaction of external auditors and corporate audit committee. The audit committee of each issuer shall be directly responsible for the appointment, compensation and oversight of the work of registered public accounting firm employed by that issuer for the purpose of preparing audit report. Each member of the audit committee shall be independent member. Each audit committee shall establish procedure for the receipt and treatment of complaints received by issuer regarding accounting or auditing matters. Each audit authority shall have authority to appoint independent advisors. The Commission shall require each company filing periodic reports that the principal executive officer or officer and the principal financial officer certify in each annual or quarterly report filed that the signing officer has reviewed the report and the report does not contain any untrue statement of a material fact. Next is enhanced financial disclosure. That greatly increases the number of disclosures a company must make public, such as off-balance sheet transactions, stock transactions involving corporate officers, and pro forma figures. All of these disclosures and more must be reported in a timely fashion. Each financial report filed with the Commission shall reflect all material correcting adjustments that have been identified by a registered public accounting firm in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. Each annual and quarterly financial report required to be filed with the Commission shall disclose all material off-balance sheet transactions, arrangements, obligations that may have a material current or future effect on financial condition and changes in financial position. The Commission, not later than 1 year after the effective date of adoption of balance sheet disclosure rules required under Security Exchange Act, complete a study of findings by the issuers and their disclosures to determine the extent of off-balance sheet transactions. It shall be unlawful for any issuer to extend or maintain credit directly or indirectly to or for any director or executive officer of that issue. The Commission shall prescribe rules requiring each annual return to contain an internal control report stating the responsibility of management, maintaining adequate internal control and procedures for financial reporting, and containing an assessment of effectiveness of internal control, structure and procedure. So next we will continue in the next lecture.